and welcome to another episode of India Revival Mission. And today we thought of focusing in on the power sector. Who better than the CMD at Power Finance Corporation, Mr. Ravinder Singh Dhillon, to throw light on what's going on with PFC as well as the overall power sector. Mr. Dhillon, welcome to ET Now. Thanks so much for taking the time out. Hope you and everyone at PFC are all well.
Yes, and thank you for having me over.
Thank you so much. Mr. Dhillon, let's focus on what's happening with the power sector right now, because surely it's been bouncing back. But having said that, wanted to understand really how the lending as well as disbursements have actually panned out in the first half of the fiscal as compared to pre-COVID levels.
So, as you are aware, the economy is slowly opening up and industrial activity has started and the demand is slowly coming to the last year's level. The peak demand was 174 in September, which is almost equivalent to the last year. And Government of India has recently announced this late payment surcharge has been reduced. And PFC has continued operations in the COVID times also. And during the last almost a week in March, we were able to disburse 11,000 crores, which was an achievement. And after that, the Government of India has taken out this distribution liquidity package under Atmanirbhar program, which is and the PFC is doing a significant sanction and disbursement under this. And going forward, we think that this will be a major disbursements will be happening in this area, and this will give a boost to the sector also, because the payments of the Gencos and the Transcos are getting done under this. And we are continuing to focus on the renewable sides and refinancing options.
Sure. Mr. Dhillon, the government has clearly taken many steps when it comes to reforms for the sector. Wanted to understand how beneficial have they actually proven to be for the entire sector, in your opinion?
See, the power sector has been plagued by many challenges over the years. And there is not one solution to the power sector. There are many things to be done at different fronts. First of all, the transmission and distribution has to be strengthened, and the Government of India has taken many initiatives in strengthening this. They have undertaken IPDS program, Subhagya, and then Deen Dayal Upadhyay's program also. And for the stress in the sector, different schemes have been taken out. And PFC is doing this pilot PPA scheme, in which PPA has been given to the stressed projects. And availability of coal has also been taken care of through the Shakti scheme. And lately, issuance of the letter of credit for the generators, that is also there as a payment security mechanism. So the multi-pronged approach has to be taken up in the power sector. And over the last few years, the AT&C losses have come down. And in some states, the billing efficiency has improved considerably. And the tariff petition filing has been done, which was not being done earlier. And out of 28 states, they have filed the tariff petitions. And out of that 27, the orders have also been taken out. So this is a way forward. We think that things should improve.
Sure. Let's talk about PFC in particular, Mr. Dhillon, because you are strategically relevant as well as very uniquely positioned, a company which has funded nearly more than 35 to 45% of the capex in the last 5 years. Given power is one of the most capex intensive sectors, what is in the pipeline for the next 5 years, if you have a trajectory in mind?
So we are concentrating now mostly the generation projects which are coming up in the renewable sector. So, and the government of India has a target of 450 gigawatt by 2030. And so we are well placed to take over this challenge and funding the projects in this regard. Uh, the government of India has also taken up this environmental upgradation schemes. So under that, two gas desulfurization schemes have to be installed in the generating plants. So that is also an area which we are looking forward. And we have recently over the years we have sanctioned around 11,000 crores of the loans in this for environmental upgradation, and this covers around 19,000 megawatts. And also we are uh, thinking of funding the renewable generating equipment sector also. We have received a few proposals for solar these uh, solar equipment manufacturing. So that also we are taking up, and we have received proposal of around 1,700, and we also looking at infrastructure, and also funding with respect to the electrical components for a large infrastructure projects. So we have received a scheme also for lift irrigation for funding the electrical component, electromechanical component for lift irrigation in AP. This is in the Rayalaseema region. And we have also funded recently a pump storage scheme in AP, where the power will be used for pumping, solar power will be used for pumping the water upstream, up reservoir, and during the peaks requirement, it will be flown through the turbine and the generator to produce electricity. So this is a new type of integrated renewable energy project which we have funded. We have sanctioned around 5,400 crores for this, and we are also looking at transmission, independent transmission projects, and we have funded around to Sterlite, we have funded around 2,000 crores.
Wanted to understand what percentage of your book, Mr. Dhillon, was effectively under the moratorium, and with the moratorium now coming to an end, how exactly have the asset quality trends actually panned out?
So, in line with the RBI guidelines, we had offered for availing moratorium, and this was initially for a period from 1st of March to 31st May, and later on it was extended till 31st August. So moratorium, we have given almost around 20,000 crores, which is around 57% of the dues which were during that period. And many of the borrowers have not, 43% have not availed of this moratorium. So with respect to moratorium, we ourselves have not got any moratorium for our borrowings, but for our lenders we have given this moratorium. So there was a liquidity with respect to, we have to raise additional funds for that. So going forward, I think we will see how this moratorium we have given, but how the payments are made during later on, during the year.
Where exactly, Mr. Dhillon, are you when it comes to provisioning? Because in the first quarter of FY21, that was surely a quarter of high provisioning. When is it that you actually expect provisioning to stabilize going forward?
So our loan book is around 3.5 lakh crores, and mostly 83% is in the government sector. And there we do not have any problem, and going forward also we do not visualize any problem. All the major stress is in the private sector. and we have recognized these as a NPA, and we have made a provision of around 50 to 55% provision has also already been done. So going forward, we think that the provisioning which we have done should be sufficient. And over the last 4 years, uh, these NPAs have reduced. And during the quarter 1, it was around 3.41, which is the least during the last few years. And it was in last year, quarter 1, it was 4.65. So there is a considerable reduction in the NPAs. And going forward, we think that we should be able to resolve more stressed assets.
Okay. What's been the update when it comes to resolution of stressed accounts, and where exactly is your total exposure standing at? Given the current scenario, how optimistic are you about recoveries going forward?
So last year we were able to resolve two major projects, which were GMR Chhattisgarh and Ratan India Amravati project, and there we had an exposure of around 2,800. So we were able to resolve this. And during the current year also, during the lockdown period, we were able to resolve two stressed assets, which one was for transmission and the other was Suzlon Energy. So in SR Power Transmission, actually we had 100% recovery of the principal, and the other project was a wind project where we had a recovery of around 45%. So the aggregate exposure for this project was 1,300 crores. So we were able to resolve that, and two of the projects are in advanced stage of resolution. One is RKM Powergen and RS India. So we are able to resolve these projects, and presently around 17 projects are there which are being resolved from the NCLT. The process has become slower because of the COVID situation. But let us see how things we should be able to resolve the stressed assets going forward, some of these during the current year.
Sure. Wanted to understand about the national tariff policy as well, Mr. Dhillon. It's yet to be approved and hopefully should get an approval in the next few months. And it really aims to improve the health of discoms. How exactly do you think this reform would help you as a power financer?
So basically, I believe that the two basic issues facing the plaguing the discoms are the tariffs are not cost reflective, and the AT&C losses are very high. So with respect to the new tariff policy, these issues will be addressed, and we reflective regime for tariff, and the subsidy which is being paid should be a system for direct transfer of the schemes to the of the subsidy to the beneficiary is being considered. So that should be a way forward, and transparency will also come with respect to that. And also from a post-paid regime, we are moving towards a prepaid regime by installing these smart meters, prepaid smart meters, and this would be a good thing for the power sector.
Mr. Dhillon, also throw light on your financials at PFC in particular as well, because your margins hover around 3%. Your funding costs at PFC are usually lower as compared to other industry players as well. How is it that you expect the margin trajectory to shape up over the next fiscal? And is there a case for margin expansion from the current levels?
So we have a constant over the years, a constant margin around 3%. And we think that this is quite healthy for us. We want to increase the volumes rather than the margins. And going forward, I think we should be, the margins are uh, around this, and under Atmanirbhar program, uh, the the margins are lesser, but the volume is going to be uh, larger. So we should be able to maintain the margins going forward. We have also made efforts for raising funds, and at a cheaper cost. We are raising this 54 EC capital gate bonds, which are the lowest cost. And through this, I think we are going to decrease borrowing cost and going to having a stabilized yield. The margins should take care of our profitability.
Sure. The government, Mr. Dhillon, has announced a 90,000 crore rupee liquidity package for discoms. How much has been disbursed so far? And do you expect the government to announce more such liquidity packages to help revive the sector?
So PFC, along with its subsidiary REC, we are funding the liquidity package under the Atmanirbhar program. And under this, we are deriving comfort by the state government guarantee which is being provided. And in some states, we are also having the state budgetary support from the state governments. So this is, we think, is a secured loan which we are going to give to the discoms. And in line with the recent announcement, we think that this package should be around 1.25 to 1.3 lakh crore, and 50-50% will be shared between BFC and REC. And going forward, it will be released in two trenches, trench 1 and trench 2. So PFC and REC combined, we have already sanctioned 1.1 lakh crores of loans, and around 31,000 has been dispersed to the discoms under the trench 1. And going forward, the trench 2 is linked to some reform-related conditions, which will be good for the sector, like enabling digital payments, the self-assessment themselves, and installation of smart and prepaid meters. And they have to also give a plan for reduction in aid. So by this, we think that the sector should also improve. And already 5 states have already indicated that for the disbursement in the trench 2, and we should be able to do that within next 2 to 3 months. And under the scheme, the actual beneficiaries are the generators and the transcos, the central sector generators and the transco, and also the IPPs and the renewable energy projects. So the dues which were there from the discoms, we are paying that. So the sector itself will be benefited by this.
Sure. There's a general perception, Mr. Dhillon, that primarily finances of state utilities run into losses, and they also have stretched working capital cycle, while the reality is quite different. How is it that you'd like to address this concern, which is a popular perception in the markets?
So this is contrary to the perception. Majority of the PFC loan book is for capex loans. So we have a book in which 8% is against the capex loans, and for non-capex loans also we are having security of the state government guarantee. So there is not much concern with that point of view. And under today also, Government of India has given this directions that we should not be funding loss. So we are sticking to that directive, and we are reducing our non-capex funding, and going forward going to increase our capex funding. And in some cases, there is a delay in payment from the state governments, but ultimately we get the payments. So we don't think there is going to be much issues, as we have seen through our book that 83% is not to the state sector, and there are no NPAs with this that.
Just a final question. Wanted to understand how synergistic will the merger with the REC pan out to be, and whether you have any clarity on how the profitability is going to move once the merger is complete.
So we had acquired the stakes of Government of India in REC in March 2019. So after that, we have tried to get the synergies, which we have aligned our policies. The new policies which we are making is together between REC and PFC, and our rating methodology is also aligned. And we have started co-lending to many states and the private sector projects. So efforts are being made for resolution together with PFC. So the merger issue, we have already made a consultant's report to the Government of India, the Ministry of Power, and that is with the government. And however, because of this pandemic situation, the government is concentrating more on focusing on the critical areas. And as of now, there is this has been kept on a back burner. So let us see what the government decides. And regarding the profitability, as you are aware, that during the last quarter of the last financial year, there was a reduction, substantial depreciation of the rupee, and we had to bear a forex loss. But during the current year, the rupee has stabilized, and if this continues, we should have a good performance to share with you. And the profit during the quarter one was 1,700, and which was higher compared to the last year. It was around 1,400. So you should see a good performance from PFC going forward.
Okay, on that happy note, Mr. Dhillon, pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for taking your time out and speaking with us today on India Revival Mission.
Thank you very much. Thank you.